This is your night, dancing free until the morning light. Together forever, 'cause this is your night, and everything is gonna be alright.
Welcome to the 28th bonus Patreon episode. How is your January? It's almost over here. Wanted to get one in at the end of the month, and here I am with a glass of scotch in hand and many movies at my side. That's right, we're doing a physical media episode. I love me some Blu-rays, and I'm gently caressing them right now. I wanted to talk about all the great Blu-ray releases of 2020. Well, it's still early enough in 2021 to get to it. All right, so let's talk Blu-rays, guys. There are lots and lots and lots and oodles of Blu-ray releases in 2020. It was a banner year, I would say, for releases of movies on this format. Which is kind of incredible to think about. So many people, for quite a few years, were talking about the death of physical media. Everyone's streaming things. People are just getting so used to doing it that way now. It's become very common. Everyone has Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, HBO Max, stream this, stream that. And I get it. I get the convenience. It's cool. But some of us out here in movie land love to actually hold the physical media in their hand and kind of understand that when you own it on an actual disc or videotape or DVD, whatever the format is, it's in your hand, it's yours, put it on your shelf, it's going to be there. When it's on a streaming platform, that's not quite the same thing, is it? All these big companies have actually come out and said, yes, you don't actually really own it. Even if you purchase it, they have the right to take it back. And in a lot of cases, it's actually happened where movies have disappeared from people's collections or digital collections. So I'm not the biggest fan of streaming. I know it's a great tool for getting movies easy, and I'm totally for that, but also there's movies on there that are in HD that were never released in HD and in physical, and just they look good, right? Which is great. I'm all for that. So I use it every day. Mostly the kids watch things streaming on TV, and we all use it in our lives. But since I've been collecting physical media for, let's see, I would say 35 years. It's a long time. It's part of who I am. I'm 45 now. So it's not something I'm letting go of anytime soon. So here we go. I just love, movies that much. I want to be around them. I want to, want them close. Not that I literally have them right next to me right now. So they can't get any closer than that. It just brings me joy. And I think from what's going on in the world and what's happened in the world for quite a few years now, I think we're owed some joy, right? We need to bring as much joy into our lives as possible instead of misery. So I think you do you, whatever makes you happy. If it's collecting something, go for it. If it's just whatever little thing that brings you joy, I would say you should really try to hold it tight and keep it close in your heart, because a lot of things in this world will, break that from you. Will try to break you in general. So I think having things that make you happy is something very important in your life. And right now it's physical media. So I wanted to run down my favorite Blu-rays of 2020. And let's just jump right into it. Now this is kind of a companion piece to the episode I did on my other podcast, The Last American Video Store. I just released a podcast episode with my good pal Brian Sauer of Rupert Pupkin Speaks and Just the Discs and Pure Cinema Podcast. Now, he is a huge lover of physical media. He has a dedicated podcast to it. He has a YouTube channel that's devoted to it. And, I wanted to do an episode with him to talk about his video store experiences and his love for physical media and his favorite Blu-rays of 2020, because there was no other person I could think of that, loves movies on a format as much than Brian. And so this kind of episode is a little bit of a companion piece to that. So we ran down our top fives of 2020. So I'll quickly mention those fives that I mentioned on that episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, I urge you to listen to that episode. It's on the Last American Video Store podcast. You can find that anywhere on the interweb. It's on Apple. It's on Spotify. Wherever you get your podcasts, look for Last American Video Store. I really enjoyed recording that episode with Brian, and I think it came out pretty well, so I would give it a listen if you're curious. And so we ran on our top five. So my personal top five that I mentioned on that episode. My number five was a double feature of Maniac and Vigilante, the Bill Lustig films from Blue Underground. Now, Blue Underground is a great company that I have a long history with. I'm just looking for the disc right here next to me. There's a lot that I have right here. Okay, Maniac is a movie I've always loved. It's not an easy movie to watch, but it's a gritty New York movie, and this package is great. Now, Maniac's been released a few times on Blu-ray, and this is a great package, though. And this is a 4K release, by the way. And I mentioned the other podcast, I'm very slow to collect 4Ks. It's just another format for that I have to deal with. So I'm jumping in, but I'm kind of taking my time with it. It has to be kind of a special release, and a company like Blue Underground has to do a really good job with it. And this company, Blue Underground, does that. And this Vigilante that I'm looking at is really, really nice. It is that kind of cover. It's really fun. It's a gritty early 80s movie with Robert Forster and Fred Williamson and a bunch of familiar New York faces. Good stuff. That's why my number five. My number four, I mentioned Godspell. Now, Godspell is not the kind of, not the average movie I would talk about on this show, but I thought Godspell was special for me because I showed it to my kids and they loved it. And this Blu-ray is really great. It has an audio commentary by my pal Lee Gambin. He's a film historian. He does great work with these releases when he does a commentary. I really love and look forward to it because he fills it to the brim with facts and interesting anecdotes about the film and the making of the film, but also he adds his personality to it, which makes it special. And it has lots of audio interviews as well that he conducted. And I think that makes that release extra special. My number three came in at the Beastmaster. Now, the Beastmaster is, of course, well known for being a movie that played a lot on HBO. Everyone knows the joke. HBO, hey, Beastmaster's on. But you know what? Hey, Beastmaster's on in my 4K and Blu-ray player because this package from Vinegar Syndrome is quite amazing. Just looking at the box set alone, it's really quite unique and interesting. Just to the packaging and the artwork, and there's 3 discs in there, and it just looks great. I'm really in awe of it. It looks amazing. It has like this magnetic kind of door. Everything you wanted to know about the Beastmaster and more is contained in this thing. It's like a 90-minute documentary. It's got a lot on there. It's packed. My number 2 on that list came in at just one of the guys, of course. A movie for a long time called My Favorite Movie of All Time. And I was very super happy the day that was announced, of course. It really it made my year. 2020 was not a great year. And right when the pandemic was hitting hard, this movie came out on Blu-ray, and I think that really helped get us through some dark times. And has a great commentary by the cast and crew of the film. So, of course, Just One of the Guys will always be a special film for me, and now it's a special Blu-ray. And my number one spot on that list, I went with An Unmarried Woman. And I went with An Unmarried Woman because this is a movie that I absolutely love and treasure. And Criterion released it. Finally, we knew it was coming. I mentioned the other podcast how Ben Schur, my co-host, and I would talk about being An Unmarried Woman being released on Blu-ray, and Criterion has to do it. Well, is this the year that Criterion's going to do it? And this has went on for years, just talking about it. And they did it. And it's here. And I love it. And it's one of my favorite films. So I'm so happy it's there. So yeah, we ran down those 5 titles. Well, actually 6 if you count the 2 Blue Undergrounds. They are some of my absolute top films on Blu-ray for the year. These releases just really knocked me out in different ways. It's not just the extras. Some of them are packed with extras. I'm not even going into the extras on these things because some of them just, it's just that they're special releases for whatever reason. The transfers are good. Of course, Criterion always does a good job with their transfers. Unmarried Woman look great. Sony, only had the one extra for just one of the guys, but because it was such a great extra of the commentary of the cast and crew, it was amazing for me to even have that. And Beastmaster was loaded, Godspell had some stuff, and Maniac and Vigilante were packed. So it's kind of all over the place in terms of extras, but what they actually mean to me. They are special to me, but it doesn't make or break a release for me. I think it's really the film itself that matters first, and what the release means to me when it comes out. Now, going in to our next title on this list, I went with The Wizard from 1989. This is the Fred Savage film, of course, that everyone remembers as the Nintendo movie from the late 80s. And Shout Select, I don't have a lot of Shout Select titles in this list. I think this might be the only one. They have released some good stuff, but also some stuff that was just kind of questionable. But this is definitely one of their best releases that they have ever done. It has a lot of stuff on it. It's got 2-discer. They went out of their way with the extras. There's a 4K transfer. There's commentary. There's a making of, there's a feature-length making of, and interviews, and a bunch of things, a bunch of funny things, like they interview this guy who was one of those people who answered the phones for Nintendo when people had a question for Nintendo, like how do you get to a certain level on a game, or just has some sort of technical question. They actually tracked down one of those people, and he was interviewed. So that was kind of fun to see. Now, I liked The Wizard when it came out, but for one of those movies that's really I've grown to love. I think it's very endearing. A road trip movie. It's funny because I guess maybe because I was 14 when it came out, I felt a little slightly too old for it. Is that weird? But now I feel like I'm just filled with nostalgia when I watch it. So it's kind of a special release, and it's this great, fun package with the artwork, which is usually, I'm not a big fan of commissioned artwork generally, but this one is fun because it looks like an 8-bit Nintendo, kind of thing. So they did a good job, Shout Select. So I'm not sure what's going on with them as a company because the releases have slowed down tremendously. So sad if they go. Moving on, I went with Girlfriends from Criterion because Girlfriends is a movie that I really liked from 1978 with Melanie Mayron. It's a Claudia Weil film. This definitely has one of the best packages of, in terms of features in a film of 2020. It's Criterion kind of, just going out of their way a little bit with this one. There's a really good Skype interview or a Zoom call, really, with the principals of the film as well as Claudia. I really liked it. I thought it was really honest and enlightening look at how a movie was made, and it was a great special feature, and just having the new interview with Claudia Weil, and then And then, yeah, there's a lot of other interviews on the disc. I think it was really well done by Criterion. And it's one of those movies I feel like maybe slips through the cracks because it's kind of a simple story about friendship and New York. So, but I've always loved it. I really think it's a special film. And I'm so glad that Criterion thought so too, to release it on Blu-ray. So I'm really happy that Criterion put out Girlfriends. And that's the 1978 film from Criterion. Now, a movie that I was shocked was coming out on Blu-ray is here in my pile. Right here. Another one of those special artworks. Rad. That's Rad from 1986. It was released on Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. Now, Rad was kind of... it's become a cult movie, I would say, over the years. The BMX movie, of course. They did a good job with this release. It's got a poster inside. It's got 2 discs in there. It's a 4K and a Blu-ray. This is Vinegar Syndrome. I think this Blu-ray release went out of print pretty quickly. Vinegar Syndrome always does a good job. This was a movie I didn't think would get released because it was never released on DVD, but it went from VHS, had a beat-up VHS, and now it's on 4K. That's kind of nuts. Yeah, I've always had a lot of fun with this movie. This is a Jason Schwartzman's parents produced this film. So Talia Shire plays the mom in it, and I think they had the rights to it, and someone eventually got them to release a Blu-ray 4K, so that's kind of cool. I think Mondo's doing another Blu-ray steelbook version of it that might be easier to get now, but I'm so happy I have this release from Vinegar Syndrome. That's Rad from 1986. Alphabet City is the flagship release from my friend and pal, my pal, really, Jonathan Hertzberg. His new company, Fun City Editions, was launched, and Alphabet City was the first film. And I've always liked this film. I thought it was a really good New York neo-noir. And Amos Poe film, who's a very downtown New York artist, filmmaker. And Alphabet City is, if you like those kinds of gritty New York stories, but that are also kind of quite beautiful, I would check out Alphabet City. It has a lot of interesting camera work, lighting. It just looks really cool. It makes the New York City of a certain time look really cool. It's a 1984 film. And Fun City Editions did a great job. Has commissioned art, but it's really cool. Really cool. I really approve of the artwork. I always loved the original poster of Vincent Spano leaning up against the car with the neon and the Alphabet City font. It's kind of a cool movie. It has interviews with him and there's commentary. There's a few things on there. I think it's a really good release. There's an essay on there, a video essay by my friend Chris Neal. It's got a lot of good stuff on it, and I recommend it highly. I think Fun City is the label to watch. They have another release. The second release I also have here, I Start Counting. Now, I Start Counting is a late 60s coming-of-age thriller. And that's unusual, right? To have it. Usually it's a coming-of-age film, but it's also kind of like a sexual awakening thriller, which was kind of cool. And fans of Jania Gutter will take notice as she's the star of the film. And yeah, she's one of her earlier performances. And she's definitely a very interesting actress to watch. And this is an obscurity. I mean, this is never released on VHS and DVD in the U.S., as far as I know. So getting it on Blu-ray was kind of quite nice as a restoration, 2K restoration, and interviews and a few other things. Another video essay. And I was really, Chris O'Neill, he did both the video essay for Alphabet City and this, does a really good job with those. They just kind of put you they're kind of very moody, and I like that about them. This is a very moody kind of atmosphere filled filled film. Hello. And I really, really dug it. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to make of it until I watched the film, and I'm so glad I kind of blind bought it, and because it's quite interesting, and it's a hard film to recommend because it has some deep stuff in it that might not be for everybody, but I think if you like coming of age films, you might be into it, and so I definitely recommend it for that reason. Alphabet City and Fun Ice County were the titles. Now I'm going over to Kino Lorber land for a little bit. Kino Lorber Studio Classics wins 2020 with certainly the amount of releases that they do. I've got quite a few here. I'm looking at, wow, they really went out of their way here. The first one I'm going to mention is the one I mentioned on the Last American Video Store podcast. Is the video pick of the week, and that's Diary of a Mad Housewife, the Frank Perry film from 1969 or 1970 rather, with Carrie Snodgrass and Richard Benjamin playing a married couple and a woman who's kind of unhappy with her life, and she has an affair with Frank Langella, and it kind of gets you really inside of her head. And I found it really riveting. I've always liked this film a lot. It never got really a proper release in the U.S. Except for a VHS. So getting a Blu-ray was a big jump in terms of release. It has a good commentary by Larry Karaszewski and Howard Berger and Steve Mitchell. So it has just a commentary in the trailer, which is light and interest, but I think it's really worthwhile release. It's definitely one of the better films that come out of that era. I always really like it, and I love that Kino Lorber is releasing films like it, because I don't know how many other people would. They also released another Frank Perry film, Ladybug. Now, when I say Frank Perry films, I should also mention Eleanor Perry, his wife, because they both had a hand in hand in making these, writing and producing a lot of these movies together. And this one has an audio commentary by film historian Richard Harland Smith, trailer. It's kind of another one of those deep movies that, but I found it riveting at the same time, so it's a really good one. Ladybug, and that's another one of those movies that I never thought would get a release, but here it is, and I'm all for Frank Perry movies to get released on Blu-ray. There's still a handful more that need Blu-ray releases, and what immediately comes to mind, of course, is Mommy Dearest hadn't gotten a release on Blu-ray in the U.S., as well as Last Summer from 1969, which is a great coming-of-age movie, and I really wish that one would get a Blu-ray. Now, two movies from Kino Lorber kind of focus on more... I feel there are a lot of releases from Kino Lorber that focus on the female point of view experience in interesting ways, and they were New York movies too. These two in particular that were New York movies: Jenny from 1970 and Me, Natalie from 1969. So movies very much of their time period, which is what I love about them. Marlo Thomas and Alan Aldo head up Jenny, and Me, Natalie stars Patty Duke as this girl from Brooklyn who it traces her like trying to grow up, right? She moves out of her parents' house, gets an apartment in the village, and it traces her like her life, what happens after that. And I love it. I really love this movie. It really captures New York of a certain time period really well, and that Patty Duke was great. I always love her in the lead of a film. I think she's always fun to watch, and just seeing her in relationships with like James Ferrantino playing this moody guy and artist guy, and Elsa Lanchester's in the movie, Martin Balsam. Well, a great cast. It's a special film, and kind of one of those movies that probably falls in between the cracks. So Jenny was also a really nice surprise of a movie too, and I'm so happy these two are on Blu-ray. So it's Jenny and Me, Natalie from Kino Lorber Studio Classics. Thank you, Studio Lorber. This is Kino Lorber. You're doing some fine work. Now looking at skipping over that. We went to that one already. Scenes from the Class Struggle in Beverly Hills was a movie I always been a huge fan of. It's certainly one of my favorites. Pardon me while I organize a little bit while I talk. It just really is a funny movie about the class system of Beverly Hills. It focuses on the help. It focuses on the families and the kind of a soap opera-esque world they live in and what they make of that in their lives. I find it hysterical, honestly. And I love Paul Bartel as a filmmaker. This movie came out in 1989. This one doesn't have much extras. This only has an interview with Robert Beltran. And you all know Robert Beltran from Night of the Comet. And he was, of course, in Eating Raoul. The other Paul Bartel comedy with Mary Woronov. Of course, Mary Woronow's in this. It's got a great cast. I mean, who isn't in this movie? Jacqueline Bisset, Ray Sharkey, Ed Begley Jr. is in it. Paul Mazursky is in this movie. Wallace Shawn. It's just a great cast of faces. Jacqueline Bisset is the kind of the matriarch of this family, and yeah, it's kind of a wacky comedy. And I love a good, wacky sex comedy. And this certainly is one of my absolute favorite movies. And so having it on Blu-ray was another big deal for me. Like, wow, one of my favorite movies. Like, another one of my favorite movies coming to Blu-ray. Love it. I mentioned in the podcast 2 movies from MVD. Mikey and Mind Games. Holding them in my hand right now. Mikey and Mind Games. MVD does this Rewind collection, which is focusing on I guess a lot of 90s releases. And these two, or late 80s, early 90s kind of thing. Mikey has, I'm looking at, Mikey likes this. This Mikey likes Mikey. Has a poster inside of it. They put posters inside their things. This is kind of cool. And it has a feature-length documentary on Mikey. Who knew Mikey would get this release? Now Mikey stars, of course, Brian Bonsall as this kid who's obsessed with Josie Bissett and will stop at nothing to get her and will kill as many people as possible. Gets in his way, including Ashley Lawrence of Hellraiser fame. She's in it too. Love it. It's got that like I said, that documentary on it. It's kind of crazy. And then Mind Games. Stars Maxwell Caulfield as a psycho who's hitchhiking, and Edward Albert and Sean Weatherly play this couple who are bickering, and they have some issues, and they pick up this hitchhiker, which is what you need when you have issues, to pick up a hitchhiker in their RV. And he plays the flute. He's very charming, and he does get in between their marriage and he has this interesting relationship with their little son. He goes to some weird places, man. This movie. So it's quite out there. It's an original, even though it's like one of those From Hell movies, but I would say this is a pretty original take on one of those movies. And this is right before that cycle really hit in the early 90s. This came out in 89 and has a poster inside of it, which is unusual artwork. It's MVD Rewind does these retro packaging with the little stickers on them, like video store stickers. You know, I'm a big fan of those kinds of releases because I think that playing to nostalgia is a good thing. Why not? Yeah, I'm in love with Mikey and Mind Games, and I really like what MVD is doing. I hope they release more of these kinds of movies because I love them. They're pretty silly, but fun. Okay, so one more. Hair from Olive has a signature edition, and it's a pretty amazing release, packed with features, and man, this movie look really good on Blu-ray. I've always loved Hair from 1979, the Milos Forman movie. Like Godspell, it has, it shows New York in interesting ways, and I'm not, I don't know the musical. I know the musical. I've seen a high school production of it. I never saw a real professional staged production of it, sadly. Imagine the Broadway version of it back in the day was what we should is amazing. But I never saw it, so I was too I wasn't born. I'm sure it played, but I was too young to see it. I love the movie. I do love the movie. I know it's a little bit of a different beast from the show, but I've always been a big fan of it, and the music always sticks with me. So having this amazing release from Olive was really cool, and I was definitely like very willing to upgrade to it. I think that was an easy upgrade for me. Why not, right? It is all about good films and good times, and I think that movie fits that bill really nicely. Moving on, let's see what we got next. There were some other studios that released things. I haven't mentioned yet. Paramount is now releasing their titles. Strangely enough, who thought Paramount would start doing that? But they are. And they released The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. Now, this is because Coppola wanted to go back and fix things with The Godfather 3 that he had a problem with. And I get it, why filmmakers do that. I understand. You're under time constraints. Often you can't get the vision you want out there on the screen, and so he went back and fiddled with it and fixed things, and he actually made it a little bit shorter. He cut some stuff out. He changed the ending a little bit. A little bit of a controversial ending, actually, change. But I liked the film. It wasn't a movie that blew me away ever. So I was kind of curious to see how that would change. I think this version of The Godfather Part 3, excuse me, I just had some scotch, is definitely a better film. It's a little bit clearer what the story is. It shows you the corruption, not just of the Corleone family, because the idea of him trying to make it trying to go straight, but the world being corrupt itself, like the Vatican. It's much more clear in that, and it shows you where things go and where Michael's character goes and how his business affects the people around him, and to some tragic degrees, I guess. So I liked it. I think it's a much better film. It's a much clearer film of what it wants to say, and it's of course a beautifully shot film like the other Godfathers movie are. Francis Ford Coppola uses the best people behind the camera. He has Gordon Willis, his cinematographer is amazing, and music and the costumes. It just looks so lush and beautiful, and I can get lost into that. So I know everyone always compares it to the other two Godfather movies. I get it, but I've always I have a stronger appreciation for the film now, which is great. So thank you, Francis, for that. On the other podcast, Brian mentioned one of his top 5 films was Ruben and Ed getting a Blu-ray release, and that's on my list too here, actually, because who thought Ruben and Ed would ever get a Blu-ray release? It was never released on DVD. It had a video, but it's been long out of print, of course. So amazing to see Crispin Glover and this 1992 release with Howard Hesseman. It's a road buddy movie of sorts. It's pretty quirky. It's pretty out there, and I'm all for that. I'm all for those kinds of movies, and I love seeing this on Blu-ray. Trent Harris is a unique filmmaker, to say the least. So I love that this is out there. This is gonna get a lot of play from me. Ice Castles, also from Sony. Now, Sony put out Ruben and Ed and Ice Castles. Now, Ice Castles is the 78 love story between Robbie Benson and I'm blanking out her name. Oh, Lynn Holly Johnson, sorry. And Colleen Dewhurst and Tom Skerritt at the parents. She's an ice skater, and then she has an accident, and and is blinded by it. So she's blind, and then she starts ice skating again. It's one of those kind of inspirational movies, inspirational kind of sports love stories, and I love it. I love it. I have unabashed love for ice castles, and of course the most famous for the "Through the Eyes of Love" song, which is probably more famous than the actual movie. The Melissa Manchester song. I've always loved this film, and I think it holds a warm place in my heart, in the icicle of my heart. Love will make you see, and love will melt you. And it landed on Blu-ray from Sony. Thank you, Sony, for that. It's one of those movies that my grandmother and my sister liked, and I would watch with them, and oh, okay, I'm into this. I approve of this. Going a little off, Scorpion released a movie that I love. A Different Story from 78, somewhere around there, with Meg Foster and Perry King. It's an unusual love story between a gay man and a lesbian who become kind of roommates of sorts, and then they fall in love with each other. Controversial, I guess. A controversial movie because of that. But, love is love. And I thought it was a great story about people, regardless of whatever, controversy you want to lay upon it. I think it looks really good on Blu-ray. I have a beat up kind of looking print of it on DVD. So it was great to see it on Blu-ray from this HE Master from Scorpion. I like Meg Foster and Perry King in this movie a lot, and it shows you their relationship and the ups and downs of it, certainly, because of the built-in drama of that plot. It certainly it certainly is filled with lots of moments that kind of are interesting and goes into interesting places. I'm a fan of that movie. I think it's quite good, actually. And I think Meg Foster is good, really good at it. I love her. I love her eyes, of course. MVD, going back to MVD land, they released a movie called Split Second, the Rutger Hauer science fiction horror movie from the early 90s. And it's 92. They seem to be releasing a lot of movies from 92, which is cool. I think this is another really good release. It's packed with features. It's got the artwork, original artwork, and has commissioned artwork. It has a poster in it. It looks cool. It looks really good on Blu-ray. Sadly, we lost Rutger. But his memories live on in these movies. And it is a good little monster movie. Like a futuristic monster movie with Kim Cattrall. And Michael J. Pollard's in it. And it's good. It's a fun movie. I always liked it. Different because it's set in England, so gives it a little different vibe. From Kino Lorber Studio Classics, Lord Love a Duck, one of my all-time favorite movies. I would say another one of the top 10. So we had Unmarried Woman from top 10, Just One of the Guys, Lord Love a Duck. What a year for 2020. Lord Love a Duck is a movie that defies explanation and trying to give it a label of any kind. I guess you'd call it a coming-of-age movie-ish. It's a comedy, certainly, but it's kind of much more than that. There's a lot going on in this movie. It's pretty dark. You can see why it would inspire filmmakers like Michael Lehman and Daniel Waters with Heathers. Other people have definitely mentioned Lord Love a Duck as an inspiration for them. Because it kind of has an interesting tone to it that's very unique to it. It's about the prices of fame and obsession and where things go when you're when you want to achieve something that's seems a little bit out of your reach. I really love it. It's got a lot going on in it. It's also a beach movie. It's got of course Roddy McDowall in the lead and Tuesday Weld. I mean, what more do you want there? But if that's not enough, then you have Ruth Gordon. And a lot of familiar faces. Great actors. truly special movie from 1966. Movie that definitely was. I don't know what people probably didn't know what to make of it back then, but I think our time has been kinder to it. And it was released on VHS, and DVD, and MGM released a DVD, but I'm so glad to have it on Blu-ray. There's no features on it, just a trailer. So sadly, this didn't get any more features, but I think it's got a lot of love from me. That's enough. MVD, which I feel like I'm mentioning a lot today, did Gun Crazy from 92, of course. Another one of their Rewind collection movies, so it has like those video store stickers on it. This is a Tamara Davis film with Drew Barrymore and James LeGros, kind of a noirish thriller, independent movie. I like it a lot. I think it's a good film, and it's got a lot of features on it. Again, they do that feature-length documentary. They do on most of their releases. Poster inside. Dual artwork. They do a really good job, man. It's cool that was released. And I want Far From Home, the Drew Barrymore from the late 80s, 89. That's really, I would love for that to get a nice release too as well, but that hasn't happened yet. Sadly. Drop Dead Gorgeous from Warner Archive, light on extras. But I'm so glad it's on Blu-ray. I've always loved this comedy. It's really funny, and it's got everything you need in a silly comedy from the late 90s. It's got murder. It's got mayhem. It's got Ellen Barkin. Everything I want. It's a great cast. Denise Richardson's really funny as this spoiled brat beauty contestant. I love it. I love it. And it's a lot of very quotable movie too. It's got lots of memorable scenes in it. I think fans of this movie should own it for sure on Blu-ray. That's from Warner Archive. Also from Warner Archive, they put out A Little Romance, the Roy Hill coming of age story or love story with Diane Lane. Diane Lane in Paris, and she falls for a French boy, and Laurence Olivier kind of is this older man that kind of makes their cast a spell upon them in a way and helps their romance. It's a really cute movie, and it's kind of you can see why it would inspire like someone like Wes Anderson. It has that kind of feel a little bit. It's very French and American mixed together in a nice way. So Laurence Olivier, Diane Lane. It's got Sally Kellerman's the mom. That's perfect for me. It's a really sweet movie. I've always loved it, and now having it on Blu-ray is a nice upgrade from Warner Archive. Thank you for doing that. From Vestron. Vestron has only released 2 titles. I think in 2020. Here they are. Little Monsters and Shivers. Now Vestron does their collector's series. Hopefully they'll be releasing a lot more in 2021, but I don't know. They're owned by Lionsgate, so Lionsgate doesn't seem to. They're not in a hurry to release catalog titles. So they have great features on them, both of them. They were affordably priced. And they're fun movies. Little Monsters is another one of those movies, that late 80s movies that maybe I felt a little too old to see when it came out. But I think time has been a little bit kinder to it. It has a lot of great features on it. Harry Mandel's on the extras, Fred Savage's film. And it's got some good things on there. And then Shivers is the Cronenberg film. It has, of course, commentary with Cronenberg and then the co-producer. It's got quite a few interviews on it. It's got a good amount of stuff on this one. But I've always been a big fan of Shivers, and I love good apartment horror. And this is definitely that. Creeps me out. David Cronenberg's early horror movies really creep me out. And this is a really good one. So it was nice seeing that it got a nice release from Vestron. I was gonna say Key Video. Someone do a Key Video line, please. Next, that would be amazing. It's just the only thing is I wish they would release more things because I think they do a good job, and these are like they're nice shiny little packages, and the extras are good. So I think more titles, please, because there's plenty to mine from the Lionsgate catalog. I just don't know why Lionsgate doesn't authorize more of them, because I think I would certainly buy them. But I'm happy those two made it out. Let's see. Oh yeah, from Arrow. I haven't mentioned Arrow yet today. Dream Demon is a late 80s, like around 88 or so, supernatural horror movie set in England that I really liked on VHS. I have a VHS copy. I think I mostly rented it because Kathleen Wilhoit is one of the leads. And I love her. I love her in Witchboard. And then, of course, Murphy's Law. This one has posters in it. Well, it's got a poster. It's got a booklet. Arrow does really good work with their titles, so they always do a really good job. And the packaging is really nice, incandescent looking. Lots of features on it. Kathleen Wilhoit. Yeah, it's got all the good features on it. And it's kind of an obscurity. I feel like Arrow does really good when they go off piste a little bit and release these kind of obscurities. Like they did with Blood Rage and a few others. Here, Arrow. Also here, I have from Arrow, Mallrats. A great release of Mallrats. They do sometimes really good Universal titles. Really good releases of Universal titles. This was one of them. It's a limited edition. It's got 2 discs, a bunch of features on it. Everything you wanted to know about Mallrats is on there, and all the features poured over from the other releases. 16 Candles, the John Hughes movie, also a great release from Arrow. Lots of great things on there. New artwork, which is okay, but I prefer the original artwork. There it is, underneath. Yeah, again, they release the packaging with there's a big booklet in there. It's an essay on the film. It's got lots of things. Everything you want to know about 16 Candles is in this release as well. So some good stuff on that. Here we go. Thank you, Arrow, for releasing those. My other Arrow release here is The Last Starfighter. Another cool packaging. Shiny. Look at these shiny things. I've always loved this from the Nick Castle teen adventure, science fiction adventure movie with Lance Guest and Catherine Mary Stewart and Robert Preston, Daniel Hurley. It's got a good cast. And great score. Very memorable score. Dun, 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 dun. It's in my head now. I won't sing, sorry. Lots of features and a 4K scan. So it's a good upgrade. I know you probably have this on Blu-ray, but I think this is a really worthy upgrade. It's got a poster. It's got a booklet, an essay. It's a great looking disc. Great looking package from Arrow. Thank you for putting out The Last Starfighter. I've been a fan of that movie for a long time now. Now there it is. Let's see. Handful more here. Pandemonium from Vinegar Syndrome, the slasher spoof. Also from Vinegar Syndrome, The Severed Arm. Why the Severed Arm? Why am I picking The Severed Arm? Why is my arm severed? So I'm not editing this podcast, by the way. So you're just gonna you're getting to hear the whole thing. You're gonna hear the warts and all in this episode, all the pauses and the weird stuff. See, The Severed Arm is a movie from the 70s. I'm gonna say 73. It's a proto slasher about this group of guys, and they're in a cave, and then they're stuck in the cave, and then they They think they're going to like die from starvation, and they decide to I don't know, cut off. They basically take end of scotch. They basically have to choose which one they're going to eat, and they cut off one of the arms of one of them and eat it. And then immediately afterwards, they get rescued. And of course, the person whose arm gets cut off is not actually dead; is coming back for revenge. It's a pretty silly plot, but I don't know, something about it I really like. It's really 70s vibe, and I was shocked that it got a release. And Vinegar Syndrome, man, of all the companies releasing stuff, they really go for the obscurities. They put out the next was Tammy and the T-Rex on 4K. Who knew Tammy and the T-Rex would get a 4K release? But so it goes. This has Denise Richards and Paul Walker. Paul Walker's brain is put into a T-Rex. It has to be seen to believe kind of movie. It's one of those. Certainly, that's probably why they put it. It's got an audience. It's definitely a W2F movie. What the fuck is that? It's kind of silly. It's not a movie I loved, honestly, but certainly for what it is, like, it's pretty gory too. It's pretty disgusting, but also really silly. Vinegar Syndrome put out. Let's see, I have two more Vinegar Syndromes here. Perfect Strangers, the Larry Cohen film. I've always been a fan of Larry Cohen's films, and it has an interview with the star of the film, and Larry Cohen. And I've always loved this movie. It's a weird one. 1984. I would say it was the West Village, somewhere in the village. It was shot in Greenwich Village, and it's about this strange dude, and it's kind of one of those hard to explain movies. The cover makes it seem like a certain kind of movie, but it's not really that movie. It has to be. It's for people who are into Larry's movies, because he really captures New York in an interesting way, as he always does, and it's kind of a tense movie too at times. But he has a dark sense of humor running through it too. So I'm all for Larry's films. One of my ultimate favorite releases of 2020 was released through Vinegar Syndrome's website in 2020, but I didn't actually get into 2021. But it's Fade to Black. That's the 1980 sort of slasher movie with Dennis Christopher. I wouldn't call it like a proper slasher movie, but it has that element to it where he plays a movie-obsessed fan who is obsessed with a girl who looks like Marilyn Monroe, and he kind of slowly loses his mind throughout the movie, and then he starts killing off people one by one. So that element definitely becomes slasher-esque, but it's kind of a movie I deeply respond to and relate to in a way as a movie fan, as an obsessed movie fan. I'm not doing any of the things he's doing, but I get it. He loves movies. I always love the artwork where it's him, like half of his face is regular face, the other half is painted like Dracula. He's holding a bag of popcorn with a mummy hand, and the other hand's like holding a crushed soda. It's really cool. They did a really good job with the artwork, and this movie captures LA, California of a certain time really well. The extras are great. I watched the extras the other day. It's got Dennis Christopher on there. It's got an audio interview with the girl who plays Marilyn Monroe. It's got my pals Bill Ackerman and Amanda Reyes doing a commentary. It's got the Hysteria Continues doing another commentary. It's got a lot of stuff on it, to be honest. Pretty packed to the brim with releases, with extras, and certainly one of the releases of the year for me. It's right up there, I would say. If I would say the top 5 really, if I were going to be honest about it. But I got it in just just a few days ago. Kind of got it in late. And then Buried Alive is another title I got really just very recently, from Kino Lorber Studio Classics. And that's the Frank Darabont USA TV movie, cable movie, I would say. I liked it when it aired. I thought it was a good film. And revisiting on a Blu-ray, it's a really fun movie. I really, really like it a lot. Tim Matheson and Jennifer Jason Leigh play this married couple, and she's kind of sick and tired of him, and so she kind of is plotting with her boyfriend. She's like having an affair with William Atherton, and they're plotting to kill him, and that's what the movie's about. Where that goes, and it's called Buried Alive, so you can imagine where it goes. It's got a very interesting, dark sense of humor about itself. It's really tense and fun, and Hoyt Axton is really good as the sheriff. Jennifer Jason Leigh is always great to watch, honestly. It's a really cool movie. A cable movie, too. I love that they're releasing... Kino Lorber is, really doing it. They're releasing, 60s and 70s, dramas and comedies and women's pictures, and then all these silly movies in the 80s, and some... and then now they're releasing, cable movies that I like a lot. They're releasing a lot of good stuff. So that's a good segue into talking about Kino Lorber's other releases of the year that I really liked. So I'm just going to do this part of the podcast. So I'm just going to do, let's see. I'm just going to do read off a list of other Kino Lorber titles that I like this year. After I drink some scotch. Okay, Narrow Margin from 1990, the Peter Hyams movie. Looks great on Blu-ray. Always been a fan of that movie. It's kind of a tense chase movie with Gene Hackman and Ann Archer. Looks great on Blu-ray. Has some extras. Deep Star 6, the Sean Cunningham underwater science fiction movie. There were 3 in 1989. This is one of them. The Abyss and Leviathan. The other two that come to mind. This is Sean Cunningham's Deep Star movie. And that was released on a very... lots of extras on that release. Just curious. There must be a lot of Deep Star 6 fans out there, which is cool. All Night Long, Gene Hackman and Bette Midler. Oh, God. I'm gonna... Gene Hackman and Barbra Streisand movie. I don't know why Bette Midler came to mind. But it's a comedy. It's a relationship comedy, and I think it's an unusual movie, and I really like it. Amazon Women on the Moon. That's the Joe Dante, John Landis, Carl Gartley. A few directors on that one. It's kind of these skits kind of stitched together around this movie, Amazon Women on the Moon. It's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. Breezy, the Clint Eastwood directed picture that he's not in, with Kay Lenz and William Holden. That's a good romantic drama, and shows Clint Eastwood maturing as a director. Date with an Angel, the Tom McLaughlin kind of fluffy romantic drama, comedy really, of 1987, about a guy who is kind of gets rescued by an angel, or rescues an angel, but really she's rescuing him. It has some interesting dark things about it too, but it's also a fluffy movie. I really like it. And then DC Cab, Manuel Behart, I forgot to mention, is the angel in that, so that's reason enough to watch it. DC Cab got a release. Rest in peace, Joel Schumacher. We lost him last year. His crazy movie from the 83 with Ice Cube. Oh God, Ice-T. Not Ice-T, no. Mr. T. I lost it. I'm out of control. Okay, Gotcha, the 1985 comedy with Anthony Edwards and Linda Fiorentino. I love that movie. It's a lot of fun. I love a good, fun teen college movie, and that's like him becoming inadvertently like a spy. The Hard Way and The Secret of My Success, two Michael J. Fox comedies. Love both of them. Both of them got a nice release from Kino Lorber. Killdozer, another TV movie released from Kino Lorber. It's a great release. King of the Mountain, which is cool to see on Blu-ray. Legal Eagles, the Universal movie with Robert Redford, Deborah Winger, and Daryl Hannah. I like it. It's a good one. Murder by Decree. Good take on the Holmes, Watson, and Jack the Ripper story. Bob Clark film. My Science Project got a release from Kino Lorber. Nice release with commentary. Pray for the Wildcats, the TV movie, which is cool. Puzzle of a Downfall Child, Kino Lorber Studio Classics. That's the Jerry Schatzberg, Faye Dunaway drama. I really like that movie. It's really good. It's an unusual movie too. And then Sergio Leone Westerns 5-film collection I picked up because a good price and because Sergio Leone, because no, why not? So those were, they had so many releases, and I just trying to narrow it down a bit. That's what I got from Kino Lorber. From Scorpion, they released California Dreaming, the coming-of-age drama with Dennis Christopher. So 2 Dennis Christopher movies in this list. Death Warrant, the Van Damme movie, in a fancy package. Fraternity Vacation, the teen sex comedy. Let's see, The Heavenly Kid, teen comedy. Kind of a sensitive boy gets taken under his wing by his deceased dad. It's a fun movie, and it's another Angel movie, which is interesting on this list. Lone Wolf McQuade, the Chuck Norris movie. They did some fun releases, like Mechanic was another one. Charles Bronson actioner. Raw Courage, the Ronnie Cox obscurity. It was a New World video title. Shadowplay, another New World title. Standalone, another New World title. Torment. They were doing a lot of New World titles. And those were all of them. Mechanic, Raw Courage, Shadowplay, Standalone, and Torment. I like Standalone with Charles Durning a lot. That was a good one. Let's see. 315, The Moment of Truth. That was an excellent kind of teen gang movie, like a high school teen gang movie in the 80s. I had the media tape, and now I have the Blu-ray. Who knew that would be on Blu-ray? Here it is. Scream Factory. Here's my Scream Factory honorable mentions. April Fool's Day, even though it doesn't have the much fabled alternate ending where it turns out to be all like there's a real killer and somebody's really killing now. Bug from 1975, the William Castle horror. Body Parts was one of the big releases of the year for me. I love me some Body Parts from 1991, with Jeff Fahey, directed by Eric Red. It's a really good movie. And a really good release from Scream Factory. Idle Hands was good. Let's Scare Jessica to Death. It was a movie I absolutely love. One of my all-time favorites. Another top 10 release for me. So it was nice and really great to see it on Blu-ray from Scream Factory. Thank you for releasing that. My Bloody Valentine got a release pretty early in the year. So it's great to see that. Pet Sematary 2, which I love. I've grown to love that one over the years. It's a really dark sense of humor about stuff. Tales from the Dark Side from 1990 that got a really good release. And Terror in the Isles from 1984. So those were the Scream Factory titles. Then Paramount. Paramount is releasing movies. and they released Barefoot in the Park with Jane Fonda and Robert Redford. The Beverly Hills Cop 3-movie collection. Now, I think it's the first time Beverly Hills Cop 3 was released on Blu-ray. I'm not sure how if I'm ever going to watch it on Blu-ray, but I have it now. The Golden Child. The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy. Now I rewatched that, and I have to say, I wasn't sure what to make. If I was going to enjoy it or not, because it's one of those movies that has a reputation that's kind of like why does this movie exist kind of thing. One of Eddie Murphy's like worst or whatever, but I don't know. I like that movie. It's kind of fun. Fatal Attraction got a nice spiffy Blu-ray. Nice, they had really interesting packages on these. On some of these Paramounts. Flashdance is another one. It has a fold out where you can see the original poster as part of the package. Pretty in Pink, another one of those releases. Paramount presents releases. And then Pretty in Pink got a release, but Some Kind of Wonderful did not get a release. At least a standalone release. I think Some Kind of Wonderful is coming out on Blu-ray, but part of a 5-movie John Hughes collection, sadly. Private Parts, the Howard Stern movie. That was fun to have on Blu-ray. Urban Cowboy got a nice release. And Wonder Boys, the Michael Douglas movie, got a release on Blu-ray. Thank you, Paramount, for putting some care and releasing some of your catalog titles. I hope you keep doing that because there's a lot of great catalog titles that you have. Thank you, Paramount. And then, lastly, the bunch I would mention Criterion. Criterion always does great work. Got a bunch of Criterion in 2020, but here are my honorable mentions. Moonstruck from 1987. Love Moonstruck. Very happy to upgrade to it because I've always been a big fan of that movie, and the extras are great. Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai from 1999. And yeah, I love Ghost Dog. It's a really good soundtrack too. Jim Jarmusch film. And yeah, I'm so happy to see that. And that's another one with really good extras on it, even though some of the extras were produced in the pandemic, so they have to be like kind of Skype and Zoom oriented. But I think they're good. The Elephant Man, the David Lynch film on Blu-ray, love it. Claudine, 1974, is a really good romantic drama set in New York. It's a very New York movie. It's really nice to see that one get a release on Blu-ray, and like that Fox title that Paramount and Criterion's paying attention to releasing films about all kinds of cultures in the 70s and 80s, so it's cool to see that get a release. The Lady Eve, the Preston Sturges movie, getting a re-release. They had a DVD version of it a while ago. I had it. Now it's Blu-ray. One of my favorite movies, so I'm so glad that was released. I love a good screwball film, and I love Preston Sturges films, and that's a really good one. Leave Her to Heaven, beautiful new package from Criterion. Holiday, another screwball movie that I love. Comfort of Strangers is a Paul Schrader strange movie. Very odd, uncomfortable movie, and beautifully shot too, and set in Venice. And Paris is Burning, the documentary, made it to Blu-ray, which is really cool. So yeah, these are just some of the titles released that I'm mentioning today. There are so many, and there's so many more to come, which makes me happy to think that there's still companies releasing Blu-rays and at a steady clip. Just looking at like Kino Lorber's slate for 2021, there's a lot coming, guys, which is really cool. I'm all for it, and I like that studios like Sony and Paramount seem to be paying attention to their titles, and then you have these companies releasing genre movies and the genre movies I expect in a way, because I feel like there's a lot of these companies focus on genre. So yeah, I'm gonna expect a lot of these obscurities to pop up in a way, because like these companies care about those titles, which is great. But I'm also seeing a nice variety of movies too. In 2020, there were, like I said, good women's pictures. There were some good thrillers and coming of age stories and things, a lot of other kinds of movies too, not just the obscure little weird horror movies, which I'm all for too, obviously. So it's nice. It's nice to see all the love for all kinds of movies and classics. I didn't get into too many classics today, but there were been a lot of classics and a lot of foreign movies and other. I didn't collect as many foreign movies as I would like. in 2020, but there's so many good foreign movies and Region 2 movies that I didn't really talk about too much today. I feel like maybe that deserves like another podcast to talk about some of those. I just ordered a bunch of titles from Indicator, Region 2 titles that might be all maybe region free. So there's companies that are actually releasing good things overseas as well. But yeah, maybe I'll talk about those on a separate podcast, because I don't want to. These are, for the most part, these were mostly all Region 1 or Region A titles. So it'll play on U.S. Blu-ray players. I don't think there was anything today that I mentioned that was a Region B or Region 2 or whatever. So, yeah, I'm so happy that there were so many good things released this year. And so I'm looking forward to what 2021 has in store. And most importantly, I'm looking forward to watching all of these. Yeah, I rewatched most of these that I mentioned today. Like almost all of these are opened up. I watched extras, so I'm not slacking off, guys. I'm actually watching the movies, which is crazy. But I do have a nice stack in my video store in my den that I do need to get to. So I get cracking, guys. I gotta stop talking about movies and start watching them. All right. I want to thank you for the scotch. No, but I want to thank you all for listening to the show and supporting us on Patreon. It means a lot. I'm gonna keep going. If you keep caring, I'm gonna keep going. So thank you for caring. It does mean a lot. And like I said, do check out the Last American Video Store podcast. It's on all the platforms by now. Thank you for listening to both shows. That means the world to me. And support my friends who have podcasts like The Story Continues and Just the Discs and Pure Cinema, and supporting characters, Bill Ackerman's podcast. Amanda Reyes has a podcast, Made for TV Mayhem. There's a lot of good podcasts out there I could recommend to you. But if you want a list, let me know. If you want a physical list of the titles I mentioned today, let me know. I have it right here. I can send it to you. No problem. Just send me a message on Facebook. That's Michael Ferrari on Facebook, or you can message it to the Retro Movie Love Facebook page. You can just message me there. You can message me on Instagram, if you have Instagram, on Cinema to Meep on Instagram, or Last American Video Store on Instagram. What else? What other platforms do you have? So, all the Facebook pages have messages. Last American Video Store, Retro Movie Love, Cinema to Meep, Michael Ferrari, Twitter. We have a Twitter, but I don't really use it that much, for Last American Video Store. What else? That's it. That's enough socials, right? Instagram. I love the Instagram. If you've been following me on Instagram, you'll see a lot of these titles that I bought came in, and I don't get these things for free. I have to buy them, sadly. When I was a buyer, I would get a lot of things for free for Kim's video, but now I have to buy them. So this is where my hard-earned money goes, around caressing these Blu-rays. So go on my Instagram on Cinema to Meep or Last American Video Store, and you'll see all the Blu-rays that come in, all the DVDs that come in, all the VHS tapes that come in. I like to Instagram them. That's where it's at. That's what the kids doing these days, right? The Instagramming. I'm an Instagram star, influencer. Got a lot of content. Oh boy, I'm a content creator. They pay me a lot of money for this. Nope. You gotta buy Blu-rays, guys, and I love it. I'm more than happy to buy all these movies on Blu-ray. Now I'm just ranting and raving. So yeah, follow me on those socials. Hit me up. My YouTube page, my YouTube channel. I forgot to have that too. Yeah, so look out for all of that stuff. Retro Movie Love YouTube page. Cinema to Meep everywhere. Okay, thanks guys. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed this uncut, unauthorized, silly episode of me drooling over my Blu-rays with scotch, and we'll see what February has in store for us for a bonus episode. I'll try to get someone on, and we'll talk movies. And if there's an episode idea that you want, you can send me a message or whatever, or just hit me up any way you can, and I'll think about it. Or I'll just try to work it out. If there's a co-host that you want to hear again, let me know. Otherwise, we'll talk soon, and hopefully you'll have a nice, warm, cozy movie to watch right after you listen to this. And talk to you soon, guys. It really means a lot to support the show. Thank you again. Take care. Ciao for now.
We'll go away, make love all day. You'll never stay, but it's a nice dream. Just me for you, our whole life through. It won't come true. But it's a nice dream, such a nice dream. So kiss me goodbye. I'm sorry that it went so fast. Our future has become our past. Too good we couldn't last. And now we see, with you and me, one's gotta let go. But it's a nice dream, baby, such a nice dream. So kiss me goodbye. I'm sorry that it went so fast. A future has become our past. Too good we couldn't last. Now we see, with you and me, one's gotta let go and let the other go free. Love we still feel only proves it was real. It wasn't real. Nice dream.
We'll talk more later.
Hey, go keep lifting those weights. You got it. Once you're into power blitzing, doing supersets is like jerking off. The key is to work out every possible minute. Like, say you don't have any weights. You use freshmen. I'm serious. You're scaring me. This will just take a minute. Okay, get a good grip. Bend your knees and lift. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, no pain, no gain. This is great for the deltoids. Thanks, kid.
Happy to help.